So yesterday I got a comment from somebody saying that they're eating one meal a day and it's helping them control their mindless eating and getting into a calorie deficit. Here's the thing. Your weight issue is not a food issue. It's a how you've been living your life issue. Your habits, your mindset, your patterns. Your mindless eating could be that you're not eating enough protein and fiber. It could also mean that you have emotional eating patterns or you still look at food as good or bad. What is eating one meal a day going to actually do for you in the long run? I mean, the whole point of getting healthier and stronger and losing some body fat is to get healthier. Like when we put these rules on food, like I'm only going to eat one meal a day, it sort of masks the problem. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a faucet. Yeah, for a while it works, but after a while it stops working. A lot of midlife women don't realize that how they're dieting to lose weight is actually very disordered. And again, your weight is not a food issue. So you can put all these rules and manipulate food and say, I'm only going to eat one meal a day. It gives you a sense of like you're in control because you're manipulating and controlling the food and how you're eating food versus actually like creating a healthy lifestyle and fixing the things that are really the problems. Like in this case, if you deal with mindless snacking, that's a symptom of other things. And so you're not actually fixing those problems. You're just putting these food rules in place. And the worst part about it is it's setting you up for disordered eating patterns later on. So what typically happens in these scenarios is in the beginning, everything's working and it's great. But then over time, what ends up happening is you become more food obsessed and you start to binge a little bit more or overeat outside of your rules. And then you feel really bad, you feel really guilty, and then you start to restrict. And it's this like vicious pattern of restricting and overeating. You end up in a binge restrict cycle and then you're being a total jerk to yourself. Like, why am I like this? I don't know what's wrong with me. And there's a lot of negative self-talk that typically happens because you're like trying to get control out of this. And you're like, but I don't understand why I'm so out of control. And so you beat yourself up for eating the wrong things. And then you start to have a really unhealthy relationship with food where you try to cut things out. Not to mention you're not meeting your nutrient requirements like protein and fiber because you can't fit those into one meal unless you're like blending your food, which is kind of gross. But my point is like your issue, if you have a weight problem, it's not a food issue. You can control food and put all these arbitrary rules on your food. But at the end of the day, you're not actually fixing the problem, which is how you've been living your life, your lifestyle, your mindset, your habits, your patterns. And if you don't fix that, then you just end up on this cycle of losing and regaining for years and years and years.